So before I start this video, I just want to say don't go and harass anyone I talk about in this video. It's not needed, I don't condone it, and it's just unnecessary. So we have another person who is false flagging creators. I say creators because he actually admitted to doing it a couple months ago, I believe. I can't. So this YouTuber, his name is Mischief. From what I see, he does know his shit with copyright. For 15 as well. I think he's definitely got a bright future on this platform if he plays his cards right. So he starts off. This is his Mischief's tweet. I don't know what to do in this situation. I don't have a PO box, and Born2Game has issued a false copyright strike against my channel. I'm not trying to give this guy my address. So Mischief got a false copyright strike on his channel as he was criticizing Born2Game over his coverage. I can't remember what game it was off the top of my head. It will probably come to me. Oh, Battlefield. That was it. Battlefield 2042, I believe it is. It's 2040 something. I don't know. I don't know my games, to be fair. So yeah, he got this strike, and obviously this kid, I will say he's a kid because this guy's 15 years old. So obviously he doesn't want to give this Born2Game YouTuber his address, which I think that's fair because you know if this kid's 15. I don't think he doesn't want to dox himself. He doesn't want, but he doesn't want. He just doesn't want to do that, which I think's totally fair. So yeah, he has a copyright strike. Sends has a screenshot. Um, and he says he's trying to reach out to the guy, and then Born2Game responds. It comes across as really needy, desperate, and kind of how weird you're making it all about me. Just accept your 3 month privilege loss, like everyone else who has. As to when, hang on, am I just bad reading? Just accept your 3 month privilege loss, like everyone else has to when they use copyright content, and move on. Has he? Oh no, he hasn't. Yeah. So yeah. So you're claiming fair use. You used my footage 20 seconds, which is not fair use. Now, I haven't seen Mischief's video because obviously it got taken down with a copyright strike, which YouTube has to do to comply with Safe Harbor. They have to do that. So just because Born2Game, just because YouTube took down the video doesn't mean it is correct, because there is a thing called Safe Harbor, which by the law, if someone does a copyright files a copyright strike on a YouTuber, by Safe Harbor law, YouTube has to take that down because YouTube sees the video and they say, okay, this actually does have this guy's content in. They have to take it down because they have to comply with Safe Harbor. So just because it got taken down, if this was a community guideline strike, then it would be a different story. But Born2Game is trying to weigh up like that copyright and community guidelines are the same thing, but they're not. Because community guidelines has its own separate terms and conditions, and so does copyright law. And from what I've seen of Mischief's other videos, he does comply with fair use. So I don't personally believe Born2Game's claim that this copyright strike is legit. My voice was included the entire time, not fair use. If you've got any legal documentation to say your voice, or like any like channel art, like anything that you own, you have any legal documentation that this is off copyright, I'd like to see that. I would very much like to see any legal documentation that your stuff is copyrighted, because if not, then this is completely a false strike. If you have any, I'm just prefacing this, Born2Game, you got any legal documentation to say about like something like your face, just you in general, like your face, your voice, as you claim, is protected by fair use. Any legal documentation, I'd like to see it, because then boom, this is case closed. But I doubt you probably do. If I was in the wrong, YouTube would give your video back. No, that's not how it works. Because, as I just explained, by safe harbor law, they have to take down that video because you issued a false copyright strike because Mischief used a 20-second clip, as you stated here, a 20-second clip out of, I don't know how long the video was because, again, I haven't watched it because you falsely took it down. They have to comply with safe harbor law. I can't stress this enough. I'm going around in circles, just like him and Tipster did in their debate on Tipster's channel. He kept on going around in circles because this guy is so headstrong and his head is stuck up his ass that he thinks he's in the right when I think he's not. That's my opinion, which I'm allowed to have. So I just don't see what his point is here, because if he just does basic research, he'd realise that it is not fair use. Sip of tea there. So, has anyone done excessive research into fair use? 20 seconds is nothing, which would make it fair use. But Empress of the Gods, he's got it nailed on the head there. Oh dear. So, I don't personally see what the problem is with this, but obviously Born2Game has his head stuck up his ass and is... I don't think he's going to revoke the strike. So I'm now going to go... why do I think this? Well, that leads me on to Tipster's live stream. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch it, but I watched it on the playback. So he went on Tipster's channel after Tipster had covered this situation, and as I said before, they just continuously go back and forth, going in circles, because I from what I understand, Tipster, he's had to deal with copyright stuff before, as he dealt with Suzy Lou and a few other situations. I think a lot of people covered the Pokemon when she copyright strikes Boblacks. Now, so I watched the live stream, or at least the part where they have a debate, and I was listening to it when I was walking my dog, and this Born2Game, he is so stubborn. Tipster, he's a fair guy, and after the video, after the debate, he's just like, this guy's a fucking idiot, which I completely agree with. This Born2Game, I think he's an idiot. Suzy Lou vibes, definitely. Lyssy Noel vibes as well, if you remember those from my channel. Lyssy Noel beginning of the year, and Suzy Lou last year. They don't understand copyright law. They try to equate community guidelines and copyright as the same thing. Born2Game continuously says this is slander. Now, I have a question, Born2Game. If you think that what Mischief did was slander, why didn't you just issue him with a community guideline strike? And by what you say, YouTube makes the decision. Then if you use community guidelines and YouTube said no, then there's no problem with it. But if they did, then obviously Mischief would be in the wrong and you'd be in the right. But in this case, you're in the wrong. Excuse me, since you are using you're abusing the copyright system, which is completely broken on YouTube. And everyone's said this. Anyone has had to deal with copyright stuff on YouTube. The copyright system on YouTube is such BS because people like this get away with abusing it. And when I mentioned abuse, he also admitted on Tipster's live stream to false flagging Cloud Plays, I believe his name was, and his channel. Why? Because Cloud Plays used videos that he was sent, and apparently that was apparently, according to Born2Game, he apparently owns copyright to photos, which I don't believe he did, because he even admitted that he got sent them. So does that person own a copyright to them? No, I don't think so. Unless it is stated that these photos are copyrighted, then, and also by sharing those videos, Born2Game, doesn't that person who sent you those have grounds to strike, by your logic, have grounds to strike your channel? Does he not have the right to do that? Or they? Sorry, I didn't mean to misgender someone in 2021. Don't they have the right to copy strike your videos on whatever game it was? So I think this guy, it made my brain hurt just listening to this guy, because Tipster was explaining this to him so slowly to try and get it in his head, but this guy was so far up his arse and so stuck up, and wasn't. I would say I don't think he was very open-minded going into that debate or conversation, however you want to put it. But he just completely disagreed with Tipster, even though Tipster was using the law. So yeah, and the reason I believe why he didn't use the community guidelines system and he used the copyright system is because he would have won it anyway, since he would have had maybe had a back and forth with YouTube. Because the way the copyright system works, as I explained before in this video right at the beginning, because YouTube have to follow safe harbor law, they have to take when there's a copyright dispute, they have to take the infringing video down, because otherwise YouTube's going to get in legal trouble. So there's no argument. The reason I think he did this is because he knew he would win automatically, because he was using the copyright system and not the community guidelines. And if he says, what Mischief said, he believes Mischief was slander, he would have been able to use the community guideline system anyway. There's an extra form for that, as Tips explained in his live stream. There was a section that you can fill out for slander. So again, I feel like I'm going in circles, because that's all you ever seem to do with people like this, is continuously go in a circle, which I'm very used to since I do Formula 1 content. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think Born2Game, I think you're in the wrong. That's my personal opinion, and anyone who disagrees with me, you're more than free to do that. I'm on Mischief's side with this. I'm on his side. The kid's got definitely a bright future. His response video is brilliant. This guy, Mischief, knows his shit, definitely. So I think that's all I have to say for this video. Born2Game, you're in the wrong. Mischief, you're in the right. 100% support you on this. If you do want to, for anyone watching this video, do want to see any of Mischief's content, I'd highly recommend it. And I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.